So I recently received an email from a nice guy, or he seemed pretty nice anyway. Maybe he'll be insulting me in the comments next, I don't know. But anyway, he asked me, what is he doing wrong with his training program? He says his diet is perfect, he's got a degree in sports nutrition, he knows how nutrition should work and everything, and he's got that all in check. He's training right, he's got the perfect form, okay? And then that's really, I think, where we're gonna kind of probably have a discussion about the perfect form, what really is that, okay? And, you know, he says everything, he's been training hard, he's been consistent, he's been doing the 4-day-a-week bodybuilding type workout program and deadlifting and doing all the compound exercises. Why isn't he gaining muscle mass? He has gained some strength, but why isn't he gaining muscle mass? Okay? And he also notices that his joints are sore all the time. Sore forearms and possibly elbows and shoulders and back. So first of all, I'm going to say if you're not getting results, you have to really look at your training program, nutrition and lifestyle and everything and say there's no such thing as perfect anything. You know, obviously something is wrong and it'll be impossible for you to rule out everything and say, oh, that's perfect because I read this study somewhere that this diet is perfect. I read from somebody else that this workout is perfect. You know, what you're doing is you're comparing yourself to those people and your body may be different and have its own individual needs and own individual specifications, okay? Otherwise, there wouldn't be such thing as personal trainers, really. There would just be YouTube videos and just a standard workout program for everybody and it all works, right? I mean, if you look at professional track athletes, bodybuilders, each one of them will have their own specific type of program and they will train a certain way based on their weaknesses and their strengths. Okay, so if you don't take these things into account, then you're going to be in trouble because you're trying to say, I'm trying to mimic this person here, but when you're mimicking anybody else, you're going to be actually discarding some of the information that your body is telling you in that moment. So right now, you've conducted your own experiment and your body is responding a certain way. So good, you've actually performed your own experiment and you are finding certain results. Okay, so you're noticing your strength has gone up, but your joints are sore all the time and your muscle mass hasn't gone up. Okay, good. So look at what you're doing and then say something in what you are doing has to change. And it could be all of the factors or just a few. But based on a couple things of what you said, I'm going to just give my own experience on this. And again, you're going to have to try to factor this into your own individual needs and figure out if this is right for you. But you say you're going heavy all the time, okay? Now, there's a reason why athletes in every single sport periodize their training. They'll have power times, then they'll have more endurance times when they're trained, you know, for a few months, and then they'll have more coordination times. The reason why they do this is because if they push in the strength side too much, too often, what happens is that they hit burnout, overtraining, you know, and then they get joint pain and so forth. And again, there could be 2 or 3 factors that are contributing to this, but the fact is that just going heavy alone all the time will create joint problems. This is why I started training heavy, but then I would cycle in a lot of lighter training, you know, a lot of higher rep training in my training, and then I would go heavy on my heavy days, which would be once a week or once every 2 weeks, okay? So it's important for you to understand that if you're going heavy all the time, what you're doing is you're going to actually put a lot more stress on the joints, and most injuries happen during heavyweight, not during the higher repetitions, although that can happen too if you burn yourself out or overtrain. So what you want to do is cycle your training through different rep ranges. So you gain strength with using a heavyweight, but then when you rep out, you actually gain muscle mass because now you're using that optimum nervous system and coordination you've developed from the high weight to pump reps through the muscle. Okay, and when the muscle is forced to contract over and over again, when the nervous system hits a little bit of a burnout, the muscles keep going and keep taking over, and basically the muscles start to become the weak link in the exercise, and then you grow muscle. Okay, so you're growing 2 systems. One develops more the nervous system, and the other one develops more the muscular system. Okay, so when you understand this, now you see, okay, higher reps is not an easy day. It's actually sometimes harder. And I know a lot of guys that actually don't lift light because they find those days are actually harder than the heavy days. Okay. So it's also important to note that different parts of your muscle fatigue during different rep ranges. So if you're doing higher reps, you actually hit different muscle fibers than just the heavy weight. If you're doing like 5 rep sets or 7 rep sets, you're hitting certain muscle fibers and you're hitting fatigue in certain muscle fibers, but by doing higher rep ranges, you're actually hitting fatigue in other muscle fibers. So it's good to actually hit all the muscle. As a bodybuilder, you want to hit all the muscles. You don't want to just hit one type of the fiber and that's it. Now, if you're playing a sport, sometimes you do want to hit one type of a fiber because you don't want extra muscle or extra weight. You want to have a power to weight ratio, and that's a different factor, okay? So one thing is, yes, rep out more often, especially if you're noticing your joints are getting burned out. The main reason why I started repping out was that my body just could not take the heavy weight all the time. It would just get injured, I'd overtrain, and I noticed that actually my strength started to go down. It wouldn't continually go up, it would actually start to go down. You know, if I lifted, you know, 4 reps or 5 rep ranges all the time. So not only did I have a higher risk of injury, but I also had less results. So I said, okay, there must be a different way to train here, or I might have to throw something else in. So I started throwing in higher rep days, and when I threw in higher rep days, what happened, the blood would pump the area. I would pump a lot of blood in the area, nutrients, and then it would help me recover from the heavy days. So then there was a synergistic effect between the heavyweight and the lightweight days. And it's important for you to factor both of those in. If you only have one, then you might end up getting overtrained faster, okay? So anyway, this is something for you to try and see how this works for you, okay? The other thing is, you know, this gentleman talked about perfect form, and I get, you know, I get razzed about this all the time because people don't understand. You know, I built my muscle mass through finding the way that worked for my body. And like so often, most people think that if they follow the flock of what most people do, the majority, that means it's right. So what I'm going to say about this is that a lot of people train for ego. They train to show everybody that they can do something correct. Look at me, I can do this the way everybody else says I should, right? And the problem with this is that you're trying to be a part of the herd, and each person is an individual. There are certain specifications of each body and certain weak links, and sometimes you have injuries. You know, I know some guys that have had injuries that cannot be repaired through surgery and cannot be repaired through proper training, but what they can do is work around those injuries, you know, so sometimes they have to train according to their own individual needs. And this is also the same with genetic differences, okay? And I know a lot of people don't like to believe this because they always like to believe their way is the only way. Like if they can squat to the floor, that means everybody should squat to the floor. If they bench press off their chest, that means everybody should bench press off their chest. And I'm here to tell you, in bodybuilding, you throw all those rules out, okay? You throw them all out and you just say, what is working for me? Who cares what worked for this guy? Who cares what worked for that guy? What is working for me? So you have done the experiment of powerlifting. You said, okay, I'm lifting heavy weights, I've gotten stronger. Okay, good. So now, how do we build muscle mass with that? So I would say higher rep days. And another thing could also be, if your joints are sore, try changing the range of motion and see if that assists your joints. I've had so many people that I have talked to that I've had the benefit of meeting in person and training that said, my God, Jason, you saved me because you changed the range of motion of what I was doing and made it right for me instead of me trying to do something that was just not anatomically correct for me, okay? So you want to adjust the exercises so that your muscles become the weak link, not your joints. So I don't want you bouncing off the bottom in a squat. I don't want you bouncing off your chest at the bench press. I want you to keep the tension on the muscle and no locking out. There's no locking out. Right? If you're locking out, your joints are going to take a beating. If you're locking out on the chin-up bar, your joints are going to take a beating. So as far as range of motion, do you need to stretch the muscle? Yes, you do. But do you need to stretch the joint? No. And that range of motion will be different for each person. You know, which muscle gets stretched more than another during the same range of motion. You know, say somebody comes down the squat, one person's hamstrings are get totally activated, another person's glutes are getting more activated during the same range of motion. This is something that you have to take into account. You know, what is the perfect range of motion where you're getting an ideal stretch of the muscle, but not a stretch of the tendons right close to the insertion point, right? If the tendons are getting stretched and the actual joints themselves are getting stretched, now you're putting 10 times more stress on your joints than is needed in order for you to get muscle mass gains. What I want is constant tension. I don't care about all the way up and all the way down because that is all relative. All the way up and all the way down just depends on the person. The question you should be asking yourself is, does the tension ever leave the muscle and transfer to the joint? Or is the tension staying on the muscle? Okay, because we want to hit muscular fatigue with the least amount of pressure and problems with the joints. Okay, so this is another thing you can actually incorporate. On your higher rep days, stay with a constant tension that is on the muscles, not on the joints. Okay, so if your joints are sore, this is something to try. If your joints aren't sore, I don't care how you train, you know, you're conducting your own experiment and it's all obviously working for you. But if you're noticing that you're getting some pain, then something needs to be changed. And sometimes that won't match what the general consensus is out there. The bottom line is, these are a couple factors you can try. Try doing higher reps. Try increasing your frequency and lowering your volume. You know, you're doing the standard 4-day program, but if you're doing a 4-day program, try changing your program. Say, you know, try increasing the frequency, lowering the volume, lowering the weight. This is the thing. Sometimes a 4-day split is the perfect thing for somebody. Sometimes that is the perfect thing. But then at some point your body says, hey, I've already adapted this. Now let's try something else. And now it's time to try that. So just be open, you know, try something new. Don't just stick to the same thing. And you know, one of the last factors is also something that probably should be obvious to everybody is make sure your hormones and your kidneys and everything in your body is healthy, you know, because if you have some factor like that going on, you know, then definitely that's going to decrease your ability to heal and decrease your ability to train. Okay, so I know one person that had kidney cancer. They lost like 20 pounds in a month. They didn't know what's going on with them. Obviously, this is not a bodybuilding problem. This is a kidney issue, you know, and some sort of genetic disorder. So make sure your hormone levels are fine, or make sure your organs are all working right. And if this is fine, then yeah, just start mixing up those variables. Don't get so locked in to say, I'm doing everything right already. No, you're not doing everything right already for you. Maybe right for somebody else, but not for you. So find out what that is. So anyway, I hope this helped you guys out a little bit, and make sure you share my stuff if you like it, and talk to you soon.
Do it your way.
Now you know my name, calling me in a drought. I came to Ridge in 215 and sorted it all out.